I should start using this technology that's so wonderful.
Glasses?
Yeah, glasses. Why not? I'm old, so there we go. Glasses.
What? Never
Yes.
had LASIK?
I mean, here's what I'm gonna do. There we go. All right, where was I?
No, now we can't see the glasses. He's embarrassed about the glasses.
There we go.
Come on, embrace the old man. Come on.
There
We
we
know
go.
Preston's weakness, and it's eyewear.
but yeah, so stage 32 has been certainly very rewarding in terms of wow, these writers keep coming and keep submitting stuff. Tonight we have we have a John Lamont script, and you are becoming the hot property, John. But let me go ahead and make a few announcements. One, we're going into movie production on November 2nd in Prescott, Arizona, on my second movie, and Danny hopefully might be coming down. But
Signs are pointing to yes.
Yeah. So that's fun. And I just completed from my own house Guinevere issue 3 for Diamond Distribution. And as I was telling Danny, like I was able to fulfill it profitably, like not by much, but like it's, I don't want to lose money distributing comic books, and for a new publisher with, you don't get like a ton of orders coming in. So it's like, how do I make the math work? And Guinevere 3, the math works. So now I'm like, oh, well, then I guess I want to keep doing this thing that makes money. And I also need to reissue Palace #1 due to a certain legal designation change. So since I'm reissuing Palace 1, you know what? I think I'm going to put like some foil on it, because I'm talking to printers, and do like a foil print of Palace. I'm going to do it both in comic stores and on Kickstarter. And I'm going to be milking the Palace train going into next year.
You're going to do a press release, right, about how Palace 1 sold out, and how you're, for an independent comic with no distro, going to a second print run this much time later.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can absolutely self-promote off that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm going to be reissuing the Palace series. And,
so why do that instead of focusing on a trade?
Because I think there's more money there.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, I think focusing on the trade is perfectly fine if the distribution on the floppies is unprofitable. And so, don't. This is advice to a very select group of people, probably just you two, but whoever else is listening, I suppose. Like, don't lose money just on a marketing channel just to have it. Like Kickstarter works. Like John, you're making money on Kickstarter, yes? Yes, right. So, but if you like expand it out into Diamond, and like you would really probably rather have me do it for you, because like just coming in fresh, you tend to lose money on your first few orders until you can, because now you're developing a new customer base, which is comic book stores. Now you got to get and talk to those people and say, hey, I'm this person you haven't heard of, but I made these comic books, and I think your customers like it. Maybe I can come in and do it. You got to start a whole new set of relationships, and that can take time. But distributing like a trade paperback or something that you were going to print up anyway, because trade paperbacks sell for a fair amount. Their print cost is less than that. Unlike the math on a floppy, is certainly a great way to go.
You can keep them on a shelf, and people will still look at them sometimes.
Yes. So it's not a bad way to go.
I was telling you, Preston, I was looking at comic shops I can do a release event at. Because, of course, I worked on Palace of the Golden Princess.
Yes.
And there, I mentioned like the whole question we were discussing way like a couple months back now about, oh, should you do floppies or should you do a trade? And everyone sort of said, no, it's an indie book. Just go for the trade.
Yeah.
Worst scenario, the comic book shop buys it. It sits on a shelf. But
Yes.
at least you can look at the spine and someone can be like, "Oh, Palace of the Golden Princess, what's that?" You can't
Yes.
do that with a floppy.
No.
A floppy ends up in a box
Yes.
if you're lucky.
Yes. Which is why, yeah, you know what? Maybe, well, I mean, I do need Palace. I'm going to reissue Palace 1 because I need to reissue Palace 1 because I need to reissue Palace 1. So, because I need to reissue Palace 1 in order to fulfill Palace 5, which I haven't even done yet. Palace 5 isn't finished. So, look, I need to reissue Palace 1 so that when people go to buy Palace 5, they're like, oh, cool. You know, I want 1 through 4. I want a complete set of Palace comics. So since I'm going to reissue it, I may as well get Diamond in on the distribution. Therefore, I can go to a high. All right, look at it this way, okay? If I want to reissue Palace 1, I'd like to do a print run of at least 1,000, right? So if I do a Kickstarter on a reissue for Palace 1 and I get like 200 backers on Kickstarter and like 600 comic book sales, well, now I've sold out my print run of 1,000 fairly profitably, and I don't got to keep a lot of boxes here at the house, and cash flow was good. Hooray. Right?
Selling 600 is kind of a, I mean, so I was selling my back issues of issue 1. This is Spirit of the Dragon 5, and I was selling back issues for $2 a book.
Okay.
And I still only barely sold over 25.
Uh-huh.
So, and that's to 500 backers. So I'm wondering where you're getting 600 book sales from in a Kickstarter, unless you.
No, I said I said Diamond. I said Diamond kicks in for 600.
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying is the math changes because when you're fulfilling Kickstarter, you know, like 300 books is like crushing it on Kickstarter. You know, 300 actual copies, but for Diamond, that's not very much. But if you put those together in a single print run, now you're getting up to, you know, like 1,000 plus, 1,500, 2,000. Like, you know, the Guinevere 1 for comic book stores just a few months ago turned in a PO for like 1,500 books roughly. So, you know, it's the you can deal at those volumes, and then you can fulfill at those volumes, and you can get a economy of scale. That's what I'm trying to say. This is how to get an economy of scale on a print run issue.
No, it makes sense.
You cut Diamond in, and they'll buy 400 or 500 books at least, and hooray, you know.
Though, and if you are able to, you know, make some deals with Angel of Darkness trades with Diamond, I mean, of course, I'll cut you in a commission for that. So.
Yeah, well, I could certainly do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I
can publish. No, I'm down for that.
Okay. But all right. But here's the question, and I kind of broached this with you a while ago. The whole purpose, you know, if we go Angel of Darkness at Diamond, well, then they're like let's say we sell 2,000 copies. Okay, one that's a decent payday. But two, okay, now we're going to an offset printer, and they'll come back and go, okay, so for 3,500 copies, we can sell those to you at $3 each. But if you go for 6,000 copies, we can sell them to you at like $1.50. But the question is, do you really want to, acquire, 2,000 copies of your trade at $1? Because you can, and that makes the math way easier down the line. But, you got 2,000 copies of trade paperback in hurricane-prone Florida.
Well, that's what you get hurricane-proof public storage for.
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying that's
one of the fun problems with offset printing is like suddenly everything's virtually free once you've hit a certain minimum.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And then your big problem becomes storage and sales and like the sorts of problems that like sound like they're nice problems to have, but are actually a completely different kind of annoying problem to have. Like Preston, you live in Texas. I'm sure you have all the space in the world.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
6,000 trade paperbacks is still a lot more stuff than you have easy space for.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you got to start renting a space, or something, or
and it's got to be like an organized space, or else it's not any good for anything.
Yeah.
And then you need like someone to maybe manage that warehouse. Sometimes it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Now you got an employee.
Well, if it's just a storage unit, I can roll up to a storage unit and pull,
that's what I'm
50
saying.
books out and put
you
it
might
in.
contemplate about going to a storage unit for 2,000 copies of the Angel Trade at $1.50. I don't know. Maybe not. But.
I mean, John is going to be selling Angel for the rest of his working
life. Right. I'm like, that's a book.
At least the margin per unit's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I sold a dozen Angel Trades on the Spirit of the Dragon Kickstarter.
Right.
So I sold 100 Spirit of the Dragon trades on my last Kickstarter, which was crazy considering the fact that I barely sold 50 Angel trades on Angel of Darkness. But we won't go there.
It looked like the same thing as the issue 5. I'm convinced of it.
And to answer your question, it was what I decided on, because I came from screenwriting, so I wanted to have a finished product that would be appropriate screen length, and 5 issues seemed like a good break for that, because like how long is the screenplay supposed to be? I would say like 120 pages, or roughly. So then let's just say that translates to 120 comic book pages plus or minus. But still, that divides fairly well into 5 issues. You could make it
like 4 to 6 is pretty normal for a trade.
Yeah.
And if you can't finish a story arc in 4 to 6, that's your problem as a writer.
Right. Exactly. So
because that's a feature length film equivalent, and that is plenty of room to finish some kind of story.
Yeah, even if you're doing a 15-issue series, you still need to break it up into smaller arcs. That's when I start doing my long form stuff. That's how I'm going to be working. I'm going to be working in 3 to 4 issue mini arcs that kind of tell a story over time.
Yeah, my graphic novel, I made it a point to organize the story in arcs before I went into any sort of production, like at the script stage. So it's 12 issues, 3 arcs of 4 issues each.
Yeah.
And that's like a nice even amount of plot per trade paperback, and that's been received pretty well.
All right. We have a stage 32 script here today. Let's see. Is it that? It is that. Okay. It's here. Boom. There we go. Cut to the Heist by Dan Gordino.
Someone new.
What?
Is that someone new?
No, they presented before. I don't quite remember what it was they presented before, but they presented before. Actually, hold on. Let me download this. So cut this. Hold on. Let me cut that and cut that, and now go. Reset share screen. Hold on. I'm messing this up. Unfortunately.
We got some time.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
I mean, I'm definitely here for at least 2 scripts.
Okay. So, reset.
I'm always excited to see what crazy John imagines.
There, and now I can. Okay, that was the control I was looking for. I'm like, I want to do the control wheel thing, and it wouldn't let me do the control wheel thing. So now we're all zoomed in. Cut to the Heist by Dan Gordino, Mary Ellen.
He's got an agent. Wow.
He's got an agent. Shit. I need to, this guy's got an agent. Check him out. All right. Cut to the Heist.
I don't have an agent.
Yeah, I know. I don't have
an agent.
Not since I left California. When I was in California, yeah, I would have screenwriting agent if I found one. Yeah.
Well, presumably your writing is substantially better now.
I mean, I would think, right?
Hey, my writing's making money, which is more than this guy could say, and he's got an agent.
Okay, but John, you have said, wow, I went back and read some old scripts from 15 years ago, and my goodness, I was bad. I believe you said things like that.
Yeah, I think you said exactly that.
Yeah. I have said things like that, yeah.
Oh, okay, so then you have gotten better, right?
Yes.
By that state. Okay, then I don't know why you were resisting saying yeah. Anyway, all right, here we go.
I'm sorry.
Exterior, Silver Lining Films parking lot. Day Natalie Scott, mid-20s, attractive with wavy brown hair that falls past her shoulders. She is in a fitted black dress that highlights her amazing figure. John, I think we have found a story that you can endorse. Natalie swings her Mini Cooper into a spot. The bumper sticker reads, "My other car is a bestseller." Natalie opens the door. A stack of screenplays tumbles out. She scrambles, slips, and slides to save them. Gary Landon, late 30s, with a rugged charm and blonde hair. He's dressed in a tailored blazer over a crisp white shirt, jeans, and leather shoes. His confident stride and grin exude, I've seen it all swagger of a seasoned movie producer. Hell yeah. There we go. Gary Landon, late 30s. He's top of his game. He crouches down, scoops up scripts with a grin.
Is this an audition for a comedy or a disaster movie?
Natalie is straight-faced but playful.
I was testing the gravity. It looks like it's doing its job.
She fumbles to stack the scripts under one arm. Two more slip free. She sighs. Gary holds out a hand.
Gary Landon, producer and professional chaos coordinator.
Natalie shakes his hand. Scripts are still balanced.
Natalie Scott, human tornado and screenplay slinger.
Gary glances at the bumper sticker.
I love that sticker. We're casting a car for our next feature. Do you think yours can handle a lead role?
Depends. Does it come with a driver and unlimited Uber Eats?
Gary laughs.
Ha 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 ha. Nice to meet you, Natalie.
He gestures toward the building.
Are you headed that way or auditioning for the role of parking lot mime?
Natalie chuckles.
What an asshole.
He's a producer. She's interested.
Here to pitch a screenplay. And no, it's not about a car crashes or gravity testing.
They walk towards the entrance.
A pitch?
Natalie takes a breath, launches into it with flair.
Picture this. 3 bank robbers, the absolute best, are going after Fort Knox.
Gary's eyebrow shoots up.
Fort Knox. Ambitious.
Like Ocean's 11, but with the usual mind-bending twists of the usual suspects.
Gary chuckles.
Not bad. Got a title?
It's called The Heist. Simple, right?
Gary nods, impressed.
Let's talk. Lunch tomorrow, noon at L'Escargot. Or sorry, I sound like an American. L'Escargot.
Exactly. Natalie, I want to give a technical note real quick, just because it's happening repeatedly over like these entire 3-page things. All of these could be parentheticals within the dialogue, where eyebrow shoots up, chuckles, nods, and grins. Like these could all be parentheticals down here, and that would save you a bit of room. And like typically when you're judging a scene and you just see like a whole bunch of dialogue, typically you say, well, this is just people talking and we need some action lines in here. And so now you have action lines, but the truth is the action lines are just emphasis on how they're talking. So anyway, just technical note there a little bit. But where were we? Gary.
Lunch tomorrow, noon at L'Escargot.
Natalie grins.
I'll be there. Probably too early, but I'll try to play it cool.
Gary grins back, heads inside. Natalie pumps a discreet fist in victory, watches him disappear, heads back to her car with a triumphant grin.
Wait, she's only going to pitch one guy?
That's what she came to do.
Yeah, in the parking lot. Like, never mind her actual mission. This isn't about
Did I have an appointment to meet someone? Guess not.
Not anymore. Okay, that's weird.
What? You're just saying it's a terrible bait and switch.
Anyway, L'Escargot Day, an upscale French restaurant filled with elegant white tablecloths and soft lighting. The murmur of condensation fills the air. Waiters in tuxedos glide between tables. Gary sits at a table, scans the room. A waiter, 20s, with a genuine French accent, pours wine into his glass. With an air of solemn importance, Natalie appears at the entrance and spots Gary, strides over to his table. Gary stands up with a wide grin.
Natalie, glad you made it.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
They take their seats. The waiter presses a menu to Natalie.
May I bring you a drink, mademoiselle?
White wine, please.
The waiter leaves. Natalie scans the menu.
The escargot is good here if you are feeling adventurous.
I think I'll stick to something that I wouldn't find in my neighbor's garden.
Gary chuckles.
Fair enough.
He leans forward.
So, the heist. Tell me more.
Natalie leans in. Her tone is full of excitement.
Lucas, the mastermind, think ex-military. Plans a heist like he's baking a cake.
The waiter returns, sets a glass of white wine in front of Natalie.
Ready to order?
Give us I'm not Gary. Who's Gary?
Oh, I'm Gary. Give us a few more minutes. Sorry, I'm also playing the waiter.
Yes. The waiter nods, walks away. Natalie takes a sip of wine.
Jade's the grifter. Got the charm, the danger, the whole you won't see it coming vibe.
Gary's grins.
The third?
Benny's a tech guy. He has a chip on his shoulder bigger than a laptop.
Am I jaded when I'm thinking that Natalie should probably be attempting to seduce Gary in order to sell her movie?
No, you're only thinking that because he invited her to a very nice French restaurant for fucking
exactly. I'm thinking there's an expectation of sex
instead of pitching her film to the actual studio execs.
Gary nods, leans back.
Well, maybe she's just willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead, and
exactly. She's willing.
Clearly, she read the script and knew there was no point staying in that location. Lots of potential for conflict.
Exactly. The real treasure is who ends up on top. Well, probably me. When this fight's over.
Natalie's going for it. Send it down, girl. Gary nods.
Keeps people on their toes. And the twist?
Natalie's eyes light up with mischief.
I'll just say, not everyone's who they claim to be.
Like
Gary being an actual producer.
He's clearly not.
See, this is Gary's game. Gary likes to seduce attractive women. Who doesn't?
I mean, seeing his line halfway down the page, that's totally like Weinstein vibes.
Yeah.
Okay. So like when I was doing background acting, I met a guy who was also a background actor who also ran his own headshot studio,
right?
And he would use his he would work as a background actor to hook up with actresses, and basically photograph them for their portfolio, and he was very and he showed us all the lovely photos on his phone of all of these ladies, and he was absolutely a nobody except a dude with a camera in his apartment.
Yes.
And I'm just like, this guy reads just like that guy.
Yes. Anyway.
Like total LA creepazoid. I agree.
Yeah.
Is this Gary's line? Nice. Keeps them guessing.
He leans in closer.
I think you could go far in this industry.
Natalie,
he
smile.
says in totally a not creepy way.
Yeah.
Means a lot coming from you, even though I just met you and I have no idea who you are.
I'd like to
take you under my wing, he says, totally in a not creepy way.
Getting mentored by someone like you, I'm all in. No, I'm going to be all in.
Gary with a half smile.
How would you feel about coming on board as producer?
Why not? Why not? Why not? Sure. Why not?
I mean, is this weird wish fulfillment?
I know. Unfortunately, a lot of
this is a
amateur
lot less work than
screenplays.
selling a pitch. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an
And you don't have to
unfortunate
stand
trope
up.
of a lot of amateur screenwriters.
Yeah. Natalie smiles.
No, I prefer working for a living.
They both laugh.
Think we will make one hell of a team.
Natalie beams.
Wow, I'm so down for this.
They raise their glasses.
To the heist movie.
They clink glasses. Interior secluded cafe day, quaint with a cozy atmosphere. Gary sits at a corner table, sips coffee. His focus is intense. He scans through documents. A man, 50s, in a well-tailored suit and dark sunglasses approaches Gary's table.
Gary.
Gary looks up.
Tony Russo and Sal Mancini are meeting with someone else. You catch him after?
Gary nods. The man walks away. Interior warehouse. Tony Russo, mid-40s with jet black hair, a gold chain around his neck, and a tailored suit, stands by a dusty window. Sal Mancini, mid-30s, muscular, and an open-collared shirt and leather jacket. He stands by a table cluttered with stacks of cash, a pistol, and a few ledgers. They count the cash, sort it. Sal flips through the ledger.
We're short again. Joey's skimming off the top.
Joey's not the problem.
Tony half smiles.
The problem is
he's still
sorry.
bleeding.
Tony walks over to Sal, picks up the pistol.
Send him a message, Sal. We don't cut corners. We cut throats.
Sal smirks with a cold gleam in his eye. Tony slides the pistol into Sal's hand. Sal nods.
Tony, consider it handled.
Tony pats Sal on the back, picks up one of the stacks of cash, flips through the crisp bills.
Make it clean. Make it loud.
Tony pulls out his phone, checks a message. That
lawyer is asking too many questions. Time to make him forget a few things. First, we have to meet with that movie producer.
Sal holsters the gun inside his jacket. Exterior street date. Tony and Sal lean against a luxury car. Gary approaches them.
Gary, look at you. Big shot producer now.
Sal nods.
Keeping out of trouble?
I've been looking forward to this meeting. Let's talk.
They step into a bar. Interior Gary's office day. The light from the window casts long shadows across the film reel in the corner. Posters from past films cover the walls. Gary sits behind a large desk, leans back with a confident grin. Natalie is on the edge of her chair. Across from him, her foot taps on the hardened floor. Oh, you know what? I was envisioning that differently, but now not. Okay. Gary smiles.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what happened there.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those situations where this does work in a film, and you just need like a little bit more language to explain that you're not going to show us the thing.
Yeah.
Leo, for example, change the slug line to what is it now? Can we go up to the slug line, Preston?
Slug line. Interior Gary's office.
Interior Gary's office. Later.
Yeah. Yes.
Would solve this. Anyways, I talked to a couple of investors putting up the development money.
Man, this guy is good. This so good.
I mean, he really wants to get in your pants, and for some reason, he's not even trying to talk to the studio that she had a fucking appointment with.
And how is this so hard?
Yeah.
For him to get in her pants, I mean. Like,
I know, yeah.
Like, I feel like that would have been happening like long time ago.
Yeah, I feel like well, yes, that's why I think Danny was suggesting later, is because in our mind, like, they've already had sex, but maybe not. All right.
Well, maybe also they just cut from talking to the mob outside to Interior Day, and it's not the mob that he's talking to.
Right.
So that's why it has to be later. Later, he's talking to Natalie, which is what he's doing in this scene. Okay. Right. That does work in a film, but you need to say something in the screenplay.
Yeah. All right. So
what line are we on?
What exactly does development money cover?
Securing key talent, putting together a solid pre-production package to attract investors, or she just talked to a studio. She was about to talk to a studio. Now she's going to go. What? Okay. Sure.
Yeah. We got to save this. This is
to attract investors or a studio.
Gary leans back, places his hands behind his head.
Totally not creepy. I'll set up a special account for the funds.
Got it. Early stages. Sign talent and put everything together.
Gary nods.
It's all about juggling a million things at once.
Gary offers a smile.
We've got a lot to do to make the heist movie a reality.
Gary stands, reaches across the desk, extends his hand.
Welcome aboard.
Natalie stands. They shake hands.
Nat, okay, Nat now, and they're not fucking? Okay, whatever. This business chews you up and spits you out. Do you have the nerve for it? He says in a totally not creepy tone of voice.
Yeah. Are you willing to do anything?
These are all terrible, like, Weinstein pickup lines.
I know.
Like, did you look up, like, a book of that?
Natalie smiles.
I'm tougher than I look.
Gary chuckles.
That's what I like to hear. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Okay. Gary grabs a stack of papers from the desk, hands them to her. Natalie flips through them.
Where do we start?
Gary moves around the desk.
I don't know. Maybe at the studio you were at 8 pages ago?
Gary moves around the desk, stands behind her, points at the papers.
We'll hit the ground running with top talent. I've got names. You'll make the calls.
I must say this is an unusual collaboration, but all right.
You're
Gary's
only saying that
moving
because
very
they're not
fast.
fucking.
Yeah, Gary's moving very fast, and in a different way than I would have anticipated.
I mean, if making movies was this easy, we'd all be movie makers. Like, cry out loud.
I mean, it might be. I've never tried in such a way, but like, I'm just saying, like, Gary's like enamored with Natalie, such that you make the calls to these people.
Well, I think step one is be an attractive brunette,
right?
Who
I was going to comment on that when we got to that part, because
Yeah.
I've got stories. I got more stories about that from working at the bottom of film.
Yeah, Natalie nods and gives us an all right.
All right.
The light from the posters cast shadows on the walls. Oh, she's got lighted cabinets. Interior Natalie's apartment. Night. A small, cozy space filled with books, scripts, and stacks of papers. A coffee mug with the phrase "Future Oscar winner" sits on the desk next to her laptop. Natalie enters with a hint of excitement on her face, closes the door behind her. Her smile fades, tosses her bag onto the couch, takes a deep breath. She moves to the desk. A pile of screenplays waits. She picks up the high screenplay, sets it down. Her eyes drift to the rest of the pile.
What am I even doing?
Natalie
we've all been asking
that. Sits at her desk, spreads out the document Gary gave her, flips through them. Her brow furrows in concentration. Insert documents. A development budget sheet filled with numbers, projections, and investment proposal with detailed financials. The numbers seem to blur together. Natalie bites her lip. Her fingers trace.
Screenwriters
figures.
don't do this unless they're accountant nerds like me.
This John. Here you go. She's an accounting nerd. You should feel represented.
I'm an accountant nerd because I've been doing accounting for 20 years because I can't sell a screenplay. It's not by choice. She's a 20-something that's about to sell a screenplay. I mean, unless she's got a bachelor's.
She's going to sleep with the producer.
Yeah. Her foot taps against the floor, glances at the wall where a poster of her favorite classic film hangs. Its vibrant colors are a stark contrast to the dull paperwork. She opens her laptop, types an email to Gary, insert laptop screen. The subject line reads, RE, the highest consideration of offer. Natalie types, Gary, I've been going through the details of the development budget. She stares at the screen. Her fingers hover over the keyboard, erases what she wrote.
We're on page 11.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What am I even doing here is a good enough line to end this.
There we go. Okay, but we started at page.
We start on page 1.
Yeah, we started on page 1. Okay, yes. There we go. The first 11 pages. No, the first 10.
I mean, I think Danny and I think the three of us have enough comments.
Okay.
You're just saying that because we've all worked in film before.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 We're coming from kind of a jaded background. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so let me tell you my story. I'll be quick. So
All right,
I was
go ahead.
doing X. So this was a Netflix movie. I was, random bar patron, number 2006 or whatever. But anyway, so the AD or the second AD or whoever who was wrangling the extras was pairing people up by couple. For whatever reason, they took me, the pudgy 5'9" guy, and paired me up with some 5'11" Russian, just got off the boat, wannabe supermodel. But anyway, so of course, in between takes, we're talking, and she says the most, bless her heart. She's like, oh, because I said, I've been doing film, been trying to do this for years now, and yada yada, and I'm doing, background work for about 6 months, and she's like, oh, I've only been doing this for about a month. This is like my second film. Everybody's been so nice to me. I don't know why people say it's hard to break into Hollywood.
There you go.
And I was just like, you're 5'11", Russian, you're gorgeous, and you're wearing a slinky black dress. I'm like, yeah, that's that. Yeah.
It's a technique, and it definitely works.
No,
Yeah.
I don't fault people. I don't fault her at all. It's just this reminded me of her so much, because it's like some people, if you have the look and the way he described his character, things just get handed to them. But again, there's usually always a cost involved too. But anyway.
Well, I mean, it's like that scene in Liar Liar when he can't lie and he gets on the elevator with an attractive woman and he's like, are you new here? She's like, yeah, I just started. This is a wonderful job. Everybody here is so nice and helpful. Probably because he got such big tits. But yeah. All right, so yes, we have a Hollywood story, and Hollywood loves nothing more than stories about Hollywood, and that's what we got here. We're out to make a movie. Cut to the heist. I know the taglines is like a big secret, is that we're going to run into some trouble, and suddenly Gary and Natalie are going to have to maybe look at making an actual heist, and that becomes like the focus of our story. But for now, we have an introduction. We have Gary, we have Natalie. They have fallen into a team. They are working closely together. There's a ton of romantic tension, so much so that I'm sitting here going, well, shouldn't they have already had sex? So they're forming both professional and romantic attachments, I would say, and forming all kinds of commitments and expectations for the future. We have seen some confounding elements. We have some mobsters who are apparently up to no good, and there will probably be ramifications fairly soon. So we set up a good story. First 10 pages, hooray! Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, like you've got a really cute meet cute, so you can clearly write a romantic comedy. There's a plot, like there's a story that's dragging this along, that everything is able to hang off of for 10 pages before it falls to the ground. So you're keeping the juggling going. And you can write some really good Hollywood producer pickup lines. Yeah, sorry, I stole that one, John.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to agree with Preston. I liked the introduction of the gangsters. That, given the pitch of the screenplay, I think that immediately it signals to the reader. I did not read the log line prior to this, but I kind of guess that's where we're going with this, especially since him going there to get the financing from the mobsters. I was like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going. Little heist movie within a heist movie. So I think that's kind of clever, and I think you did that early enough that as long as you don't totally bore your readers, which it didn't seem like you were doing that too much. But yeah, if you don't totally bore your readers, I think they'll be interested to see how the eventual plot heist comes up, and expecting everything to become a comedy of errors, that just everything that can go wrong will go wrong, but eventually it'll all work out in the end. So
Constructives. Well, all right. I mean, it's not the most realistic depiction of filmmaking I've ever seen. Not that it needs to be, but I do notice, even when a writer approaches this, the writing is not the focus, right? Like, you think as a writer, you would sit down and go, well, what's the real focus of this fictional movie and this fictional version of Hollywood I've envisioned? It should be the script. But nobody ever reads the damn script. Like, she's got them littering around her car. They're in her basement. Does Gary ever read the script before he pitches investors to invest money? Not to my knowledge. He just hears her pitch of, it's going to be like some movie and there's going to be a twist and they're knocking off Fort Knox. Oh, cool. Hold on. Let me get some money in that. Like, he never reads the script and goes, the characters, the setting, whatever. Like, he's a producer that's overinvested in what seems like a fairly mediocre screenplay idea, which again suggests the idea he's just enamored with Natalie. But the other thing I got to say is, if Natalie is so gorgeous as I'm envisioning her, then how did she become a writer? Because, like, typically you want to stand in front of the camera when you have that kind of abilities, as opposed to sit off in a room somewhere where no one sees you.
You say that.
I do absolutely say that. Anyway, there you go.
well, I mean, well,
all right, John, go ahead.
yeah. So well, okay. My I'm going to offer some more of a creative. Well, first of all, this reminds me of another low budget movie that I think was put out by Amazon called Logan Lucky, which was also basically kind of a bit of a comedy of errors that ended up about knocking over a casino or something like that. But anyway, so I like the idea of the film within a film, but I would my main criticism, besides, the gangster dialogue needs massive work. That is, I feel like if you asked an AI to write dialogue between two mobsters, it would come out with all of that cliche stuff. So that needs total work. That being said, so I think if you want to stick with the film within a film idea, I think rather than her having this screenplay that she's showing up at a studio that already has an appointment to meet with somebody, happens to meet somebody in a garage, and I think maybe well, I would also ask, have you worked on a film set?
No.
And I only because
no, this is not worked on a film set. Stop.
So because, like, a good thing, maybe a good thing to try is make them both I would say make them both like nobodies, background actors. They're background actors working on some movie set. Maybe she's got a script and he's got a dream to be a producer, and they meet at Crafty when they're not on set, and they start talking, and then they say, hey, let's have dinner and you can tell me all about your movie. And then we cut to them having dinner, and then they're like, well, let's make this into a movie. Well, how do we make this happen? Well, let's get investors. And then he goes, and maybe he's talking to his roommate's neighbor's cousin from down the hall of the apartment building that he's living in, who says, yeah, I know somebody who was willing to invest because he wants to be an executive producer or whatnot. And then I also thought of Fall Guy too.
I did. Fall Guy's good.
Yeah, Dre.
Yeah, Fall Guy is good.
But when are you going to join this stream? Because we have one of your scripts coming up. You're right there. Why don't you join the stream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show up in person.
Yeah. Anyway, so
do it.
So just have them both be nobodies. Then they have like nothing to lose. And then they're kind of both in this point where they're both kind of figuring it out, because clearly you don't know how a movie is made. So don't try to, you're not going to win over a potential producer like that. That's why part of the reason why Fall Guy works is one, because it's cute and charming to people that don't know anything about film, and it's moderately realistic to how a film is made, minus the whole murder mystery plot. But so I think if you kind of do something like that, where they're both kind of like, then they kind of get in over their head, and then they're trying to figure out a way out of it. I think that'll provide a more interesting story than basically a dude that's got all the swagger and connections in the world, but for some reason needs mobster money, and a girl that could clearly make it as an actress and a model. You know, or you could also, again, if you want somebody that's gorgeous, you know, have her working as a background extra, but not the type of maybe she gets hit on by a producer, but she's, you know, on that set, and she's like, no, I don't want to sleep my way to the top. Now we've got character for her, as somebody who is like, no, I'm willing to put in the hard work to make a name for myself and not just, you know, sleep with whoever I need to. And then you can kind of build on that too. And then it makes her a bit more of a likable 3-dimensional character. So I don't know, that would just be my suggestion on how to kind of polish up these first 10 pages, because eventually we're going to get to them getting money from the mob to make this movie, and then shenanigans are going to be afoot, and then that's going to most likely, your whole actual heist mobster thing is going to cannibalize the entire plot. It's not going to be a plot about two people making a movie. It's going to be about two people trying to get away from the cops and the mob and whatever. So I think if you set them up as more, because again, even if you want to make it film, because that's what we're all interested in, or I should say that's what you're passionate about. You're passionate about film. So you want to make it about film. But honestly, you could make this becomes more of a universal story where it's just two people who have a dream. It could be a dream to open a laundromat, and they need startup cash to open a laundromat. So they get money from the mob, and now they have to go and rob a bank to get money to pay back the mob. So like it becomes a more universal theme where everybody can relate to having a dream and wanting to pursue that dream and needing the funds to pursue that dream, and how do we go about doing it. And then, you know, then they get kind of roped into this and probably don't realize it's the mob money when it's being lent to them. And anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I've really got two constructives. And the first is that none of the details make sense. And the second is that your protagonist doesn't have any character. So I'm going to sort of just go with those in order. None of the details make sense. Like, she's there on the lot, ready for a meeting, and totally ignores it. What's happening? She's like pitching this movie with a terrible name, like where everyone's trying to steal gold or whatever from Fort Knox. Famously impossible to do. Even a James Bond movie, no one was trying to steal gold from Fort Knox. So that detail is utterly insane. And then, like, why does she have a pile of scripts? How many scripts has she written? Are they all piles of the same script? You mentioned her favorite movie. What's her favorite movie? You don't even describe it. This character has no character aside from a couple of like charming lines on mugs and her car. So that, like, and then also in terms of details, the fucking Gary, like, giving like creepazoid producer vibes with every single, like, I don't know if that was supposed to be cute or creepy, and it came off as really creepy. It was like, oh yeah, I'll get you a movie, just come with me for dinner. Oh yeah, partners. And then, like, what, like, she's a writer and somehow gets roped into being a producer, dealing with like accounting, and like, what is happening? Like, you're a writer. Do you want to stare at a spreadsheet all day with a budget on it? What's going on? So, like, you're very good at hiding these transitions, but they utterly break logic, and they are vexing. The other thing about characters. So John suggested, I think quite rightly, that this sort of works if they're all nobodies, or this works if there's another situation. You kind of throw out the whole, like, meet in the studio thing in the first place, because that caused a lot of problems. And the comedy of errors angle, like, I haven't read your log line. I don't, whatever. But looking at the pages, like, the comedy of errors angle, you foreshadow that one pretty well. And that's fine. But, like, going through the dialogue, like, your two protagonists are neither smart enough nor stupid enough to be in this movie.
Wow. Yikes. Wow.
No, like, they're not too smart for their own good and getting over their heads. They're not complete idiots. They both seem like very reasonable, witty people who have no reason to be here whatsoever. Because if anyone stopped for a second, just like Natalie does, and thinks, what am I even doing here? None of this story would happen. And this is actually a big problem. Your characters either need to be much, much smarter or much, much stupider for this story to work. Because it's pretty obvious it's Mob Buddy. It's pretty obvious that the screenplay doesn't matter. It's pretty obvious Natalie has no idea what she's doing. It's pretty obvious Gary's a con man. It's all so obvious that your characters either need to be so smart they don't notice or so stupid they can't notice. And then they're too busy having, like, witty repartee or actually sleeping together.
Yeah.
To notice that everything's actually going sideways. Like, because they're not sleeping together, it makes it worse that no one notices. So, yeah, like, your characters need character, and you gotta write them different because they are too obviously baseline competent to be in this kind of story. Neither of these people are normal. So, like, yeah, you've really got to work on the characters there and figure out exactly what's going on, because this film is not, I don't think it's going to work with these characters in your plot.
Possibly. All right. Well, hopefully, because he mentioned that, you know, we got some good notes last time. Hopefully those were some good notes. I feel like the story is a good start, and look forward to it improving. All right. Now we have Harpies. All right, John. So where is Harpies? Have we started? Has pencil hit paper yet, or is it still in concept?
Yes. Issue 1 has gone to pencil. Issue 2 is mostly done. I haven't had time to finish my polishing, but
okay.
And this is issue 3. So
what happens in issue 3? I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, this is my rewrite. This will be page 1.
Okay.
All right.
So this is actually
Interior Fort Torbuk. Torbuk. Perfect. How do you pronounce that?
No idea. It's in the Sudan.
Yeah, I was about to say, I believe that's Tobruk.
Cool.
Tobruk?
All right.
Yeah, that is how I've heard it used in reference to World War II battles between the Germans and the British in North Africa.
Corporal Wayne holds a heavy bag steady as Long Fu sends several hard punches into the canvas. He grunts which each successive blow as his body absorbs the impact.
Can I play the Asian?
Go ahead.
I have all this power.
The more focus she gets, the harder her punches.
But I can't stop my friends from getting hurt.
A harder punch. Wayne winces in pain.
Why even send me back?
A final punch send the heavy bag and Wayne falling to the floor. Long Fu snaps back to reality.
Oh my gosh!
She throws herself at Wade as he lays dazed on. Jesus Christ, John, it's page 1. As she examines him, she notices the bruising across his stomach and chest.
I am so sorry.
Interior, Fort Tobruk Infirmary Day. Jezidrow sits up on the bed as the doctor stands behind her, checking her breathing with a stethoscope.
Inhale deeply for me.
She breaths in, fighting the pain in chest.
Well,
You won't be running any marathons ever again.
The doctor steps away from her, reviewing her chart.
You'll have to practice controlling your breathing, especially in any high-stress situation.
He circles the bed to face her as his face slowly starts to pale.
You're lucky to be alive, so just...
The doctor begins getting short of breath.
you need to leave the room. Now.
The doctor stares at me.
I don't even know what that means, but all right.
Who's me?
Yeah.
Me, I don't know.
God, here's a note. Informal writing, generally it's inappropriate to address the audience directly.
So
Addressing
the
yourself
doctor
as the
stares
author
at
directly
the
seems
panel?
even worse.
Doctor stares at the panel?
Get out.
The doctor backs away from her, exiting the room and closing the door. Outside hallway, as soon as the door closes, the doctor regains his composure. Aaron enters the hallway.
I guess that's me. Doctor, are you all right?
Yes, I am now bizarre. It was as if she sucked the air out of the room.
Let me talk to her.
Infirmary. Jezidrow sits on the bed, legs crossed in a meditative stance. Aaron enters cautiously.
You shouldn't have brought me here.
I could just leave you in that hole. Hole?
Oh?
Hole? That's a,
That whole what?
that hole? Hole?
And I thought that was the right
hole.
hole.
Okay.
I'm not very
I could
good
just
with
leave
holes.
you
Probably
in
why I
that
can't get a
hole.
girlfriend.
Plus, you owe me an explanation on the last 5 years. You'll have to rebalance the magics. What does that even
Aaron
mean?
starts getting lightheaded.
Oh, that even mean?
I joined a coven of African witches. They taught me to strengthen and control my abilities, plus a few new spells. But this, I am afraid I cannot control.
Jezidrow opens her eyes, looking at Aaron, who visibly grows pale and weaker.
You must leave me.
What is happening?
My body is injured. It demands to be healed despite me trying to keep it in check. The life force needed is more than one person can spare.
Aaron reaches for her pistol, but keeps his holstered for the time being. Jezidrow closes her eyes, returning to her meditation. Who is he and where?
Who's he? That's it. His holsters?
Do what you must, but make it a clean shot through my head. If you miss, I will not be able to focus, and all life force energy in 100 feet will be sucked into me.
Aaron backs out of the infirmary, closes the door. Outside hallway. Aaron closes the door. Again. And almost immediately her strength returns.
I'll keep her isolated. Nobody goes in there without my authorization.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Exterior, Fort Tobruk, front gate, day. 2 British Army soldiers stand guard outside the barrier gate.
Some avatar bitch couldn't even stay on the airship.
I doubt you'd fare any better.
Guard 1 takes out a cigarette.
But nobody talks about me like I'm the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Guard 1 strikes a match. A pink haze grows over Guard 2's eyes.
What the fuck?
What?
I can't see. That match. You blinded me.
What the fuck are you on about?
Guard 1 feels a twitch. Looking down, a small spider crawls out from his sleeve, followed by dozens more. More spiders crawl out from under his shirt collar. He screams, scratching, clawing. He flings them off his skin, but more and more keep crawling out. Zola, surrounded by a pink aura of psionic magic, walks past the two guards. Exterior Fort Brooke, inside the walls, day. A drill sergeant leads a troop of British soldiers on a jog around the fort. Inside the walls? What are the walls? How thick are the walls?
I don't know if thick enough.
They're on the inside of the.
Oh, you mean interior Fort Brooke?
Well, yes, but it's still outside. They're not inside.
Yeah.
That always confuses me because they're inside the fort, but they're still outside. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. I believe John is correct.
Yeah, I think John is correct.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure if the phrase is inside the walls, perhaps inside the fort.
Within the
past
fort.
The walls.
Within the fort, I would just say.
Yes.
Along the interior side of the wall, I don't know.
I like interior of the fort walls, something like that.
Okay, but it's not an interior shot.
I know that, but it's like inside the walls. I'm like inside the walls.
Anyway.
They're like inside the walls.
Interior of outer walls.
A drill sergeant leads a troop of British soldiers on a jog around the fort.
I don't know what I've been told.
Hail Hitler!
The drill sergeant whirls around, finding a dozen German soldiers behind him. He draws his sidearm, firing, causing them to scatter. Zola walks past the dead soldiers as the drill sergeant continues hunting down, shooting his own men.
Die, you Nazi bastards!
Bang, bang. The gunfire sets off an air raid siren. Soldiers mobilize. Longfu races out of the barracks, finding Zola walking calmly down the street.
Oh, actually, Preston, why don't you do Zola?
Oh, was I interrupting something?
Aaron exits the officer. Okay.
There you go.
Mess hall.
We also have inside perimeter wall.
There you go. Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Inside perimeter. Yeah. Mess hall standing about halfway between Zola and Longfu.
Aaron, get back inside.
A shadow passes overhead, distracting Longfu. Looking up, she sees the SMS Ernst von Hepner. The underdeck cannons aim as the Magitech engine powers up.
Aaron!
Boom! The airship fires, causing the officers' mess hall to explode. That was grammatical. The massive fireball consumes Aaron, burning the flesh from her bones. Boom,
oh,
boom.
harsh. Harsh.
She was a boring character anyways. The airship fires again. The buildings surrounding Longfu explodes, sending massive fireballs and shrapnel everywhere. Longfu drops to her knees, screaming, thought completely unscathed.
Though I think
she is completely helpless as the fires surround her, burning the entire fort to cinders. Interior Tribunal night. In full uniform, Lieutenant Aaron Rice stands before a tribunal of Allied. Didn't she catch fire and die? Like on the last page?
She did, but she's back.
Stands before a tribunal of Allied military leaders.
Lieutenant Rice, your failure to reverse engineer the Nazis' Magitech has led to the loss of the entire European continent and millions of deaths. You are hereby stripped of your rank and sent to the gulags to receive every imaginable torture humans could devise until your dying breath.
Harsh. Yeah.
Is that how you spell gulags?
According to Google.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I tried looking it up, but that's what best I could find.
Isn't that a Russian thing?
It doesn't. Oh my God! It doesn't matter. Just keep reading.
Exterior Fort Brooke day. Zola stands over Aaron as she lays in the dirt. A pink haze over her eyes. Her body shakes.
Sweet dreams, colonizer four.
Interior Fort Brooke infirmary day. Destra opens her eyes from her meditation as Zola enters.
Jezzy, my love,
How did you find me?
I have a psychic connect with all my coven sisters, even stronger with the one I share my heart.
Zola steps toward Jezidrow, noticing the massive scar on her stomach.
By the gods, what did they do to you?
It was the White Devil.
From your visions. And what of the dragon?
You were right about the dragon, but the White Devil, he took the stone and stabbed me through.
Zola touches the scar.
Does it hurt?
No, I'm pretty sure all the nerve endings were burned off.
Well, let's get you out of here. I've cleared a path. You'll have your picking of life force sucking to feed from. Well, a few of them didn't make it, but I kept most of them alive for you.
Jezidrow shifts towards the edge of the bed, pulling Zola in closer.
After hearing your stories of the chaos wrought on those soldiers, I do look forward to seeing your handiwork.
Jezidrow puts her arms around Zola, holding her close.
Jezzy, my love, I will carry you.
Just hold me.
Jezidrow wraps her legs around Zola's hips, pushing her into herself. Their chests press against each other as Jezidrow tightens her arms around the other's back.
There you go.
I love you. Have I ever told you that?
Zola's face slowly becomes pale.
No, but
I am sorry.
A tear rolls down Jezidrow's cheek as she holds Zola against her body tighter.
But I can't let you hurt them.
Jezidrow closes her eyes. Her skin turns dark and hair burns as white fire. Jezidrow draws the life force from Zola through the skin-to-skin contact. Zola tries to scream, but the wind is taken from her. Her body shrivels into an emaciated form. It takes mere moments before Jezidrow finds herself holding emaciated remains of her coven sister. Jezidrow gently places the emaciated corpse on the hospital bed and covers it with a sheet. Her own wound now appears completely healed, with only a slight white scar in its place. Cheer for today's day. Jezidrow kneels down beside Aaron, still succumbed to the fear spell, placing 2 fingers on Aaron's forehead.
I still got to say, that's not the harshest lesbian breakup story I've ever heard.
Poresa.
No, it's not that harsh, but you know.
The pink haze over Aaron's eyes fades as she returns to reality. Aaron sits up looking at Jezidrow.
You should be okay now.
Jezidrow walks out to the middle of the street where Longfu lays on the ground, pink haze in her eyes, her body visibility shaken. Jezidrow kneels down, placing 2 fingers on her forehead.
Poresa.
Longfu snaps back to reality. She grabs Jezidrow's arm, swings her legs up, catching her by the neck and throwing her down to the ground in an arm bar.
Don't.
Longfu, you have a line.
I have a line.
You ignore the dog. You have a line.
Give me a reason not to.
The more life force I spend self-healing, the less I have to release everyone from their fear illusion.
Longfu holds her longer than she probably should, but eventually releases Jezidrow.
Fix them.
Okay, there we go. Those were pages, definitely.
They were pages.
They were certainly pages. Stuff happened. I think like a character died, which is not something I'm used to seeing. Jezidrow made some interesting decisions, somewhat unpredictable. People died, and I think there was maybe some emotion about that. I think you did a good job. I feel like your writing's getting better. Diane.
There was some action. It was motivated. All of the plot was explained as it was happening. There was a character who almost did something that was emotionally relevant.
John Lamont.
He wrote
I
it.
think
So,
Oh, yes, you're right. Diane.
uh,
Diane, go ahead.
there we go.
Diane's got say something good. Really?
No, I think everything has already been said.
Okay.
So
All
it's
right.
just like
Well,
we
you
have a
can just-
couple. I
okay.
don't know. I assume this is one of the, because I don't know the context of all the rest
This
of
is
it.
issue 3.
Issue
Yeah.
3. I
this
don't know
is
the
issue
context,
3,
so I don't
yeah.
know how much emotion
Okay.
we're supposed to be invested into this couple that kind of came in and then went. So,
Yeah. I think we've seen Zola over the issues, I think.
I think
Yeah.
we've just seen her get rewritten a bunch as John figures out what to do with her.
Yes. Well, he figured out what to do with her.
Yeah, well, I like what he did with her. That was good.
Right,
I think there's a version of this with like a light rewrite where it's really clear what things are phantasmal and what things are not. That would make things a lot clearer, because by the end of these pages, it is difficult to know whether or not the airship actually shows up to wreck shit or doesn't. And I think that is one of the levels of confusion we have as to where the story is right now. And like, I know why Long Fu's freaking out, but is she freaking out because she needs a whole bunch of help to kill the Nazis, or is she freaking out because someone just fucked with her head and she's blaming Jezredrau for it? That part's not clear. I think some of the stuff at the beginning was a little bit slow. You could basically you could start this with Zola just casting magic spells and coming in like Terminator. That would be better. Although the explanation about the life force thing is pretty necessary. I think Jezredrau killing her girlfriend Salt like makes an explanation there. And your spelling and grammar need a ton of work.
When does it not?
Well, okay. In particular, you should not use pronouns to replace nouns that you have not introduced previously in the sentence. Because she does her, and both the characters are she, and just like there was some stuff that was bad, but it was when it was all pronouns, I started losing the plot.
I must have missed it. I've been trying not to write pronouns when it's just the two of them, because I recognize that gets confusing.
And with all your main characters being women, I mean, this doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I mean that also didn't help. But you know, some of the visions were cool, like Zola coming in with spooky Scarlet Witch shit, like that worked. But yeah, my recommendation is just start there, honestly. That's a bit of conflict. It's happening. It's cool. It's visually interesting. And it'll get people to want to read more.
There we go. Yeah, I think
Question you've got to say constructive.
I mean, you know, I think it's better. Yeah, I really don't have like a ton. I don't think, you know, I think it's better. Yeah.
So I have a question, because I agree. I'm not entirely sold on that. On the first 2 pages, the opening scene with Long Fu hitting the heavy bag. What I'm trying to establish with that scene...
God, that gave me flashbacks to what was it?
Yeah, I know.
La Vigilante. Yeah, you're ripping from La Vigilante.
That's not a good sign, John.
I would say that this is
better.
actually something a scene that I've written multiple different ways, multiple different times, but just haven't had a chance to use yet. So the purpose of that scene is I'm trying to establish, I guess, an emotional arc for Long Fu, because she's essentially she's an invulnerable character.
Yes.
But the people around her are not.
Yes.
So I'm trying to establish that, and that was the whole purpose of her vision scene. Like, the vision scene that she has is really that everybody that she's trying to protect is dies, and she's left all alone, unable to protect them. So that's the avenue that I want to try to lean into with that character, as kind of a motivation to what she does. Is that she has supernatural abilities, and she's trying to use them to protect people and protect the people she cares about. That's what she's talking about when she's like in her own little space and beating on the heavy bag. She's like, like I've got superpowers, but I'm useless with them. So I'm not entirely happy with how that scene works. I just don't know how to fix it.
Well, why don't you have her complain to one of her also superpowered friends about it instead of,
As of yet, the only other superpowered character is Jezidro. Aaron does not have superpowers.
Okay, well, look, A, Aaron seems to be dealing with this shit. She's your Nick Fury. B, you have a robot cat lady who should be showing up sometime soon. She can have a conversation with. C, you already have a thing in your storytelling where your characters don't talk to each other about anything. And this would be actually a good conversation to involve all of the protagonists in.
All right.
I have something to say.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so I know you're on issue 3. I've only just heard about this right now. Long Fu. You realize that's not a female name, right?
It's not a name at all.
No, it's a Chinese name. It means lucky dragon, and it's a masculine name.
Fu is female. Means woman.
No.
Apparently she's Dragon Lady.
She's Dragon Lady? Is that what that's supposed to translate
Dragon
to?
Lady or Dragon Girl. But yes, that's what it's supposed to mean.
Okay.
At least when I looked it up and I made up the name from a Chinese dictionary like 10 years ago when I invented this character.
Yeah, Long Fu. No, Fu, depending on, I guess it depends on the character you use, but generally Fu, when you put it next to dragon, it literally means lucky dragon. Lady is not Fu.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think you and I can read a lot more Chinese than John can.
I don't know. I was going by an English to Chinese dictionary like 10, 15 years ago when I first dreamt up this character.
All right, let's look at Spectre Rising.
Oh, this is the space one, right?
Yes, the space one.
I remember that from last week.
Yes. Well, you rewrote
that.
Page 1, splash page panel, wide shot of the Sahara Desert dunes stretching across the horizon. A small evacuation site is visible with several tents and equipment scattered around. In the center, Dr. Evelyn Ramirez and her team are gathered around a large, partially uncovered alien artifact, dark metallic and pulsing with a faint glow. Caption top left, Sahara Desert, year 2050.
Yay, locator captions.
Yay.
This is it. We finally found it. Dun, dun, dun. The artifact. Oh, sorry, that's quotation. So, quote, this is it. We finally found it. Dun, dun, dun. The artifact. End quote.
Yeah, he put all of his dialogue in quotes.
Oh, all of it?
Yeah, all of it. Like,
wow. Okay.
Thing. Yeah, it's a consistent
thing. New.
Yeah. Page 2, panel 1, close up on the alien artifact, intricate engravings now visible, glowing brighter as Dr. Ramirez reaching towards it.
It's reacting to something. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, this is giving me Suicide Squad vibes, where the architect, not the architect, the archaeologist that should know better touches the things that she knows, touches the thing that she knows she shouldn't touch, and becomes possessed with the witch.
I mean, Suicide Squad is a great movie if you want to learn how to write something that relies entirely on the idiot.
I missed part of that, Danny, because somebody else was talking.
Diane was just continuing along her thought that Fu is not what she's taken this very personally.
I am.
Very personally.
I am. And I'm just going like, that's not
like,
woman.
no. Anyway.
Look, everyone's saying you're right, and that John didn't know better. We just have to let it be white here.
Anyway.
You got a bad dictionary.
So Suicide Squad is an excellent example of how to write a plot that relies 100% on everybody holding the idiot ball.
Right.
Most of the time.
Yes.
That is an idiot ball plot.
Side shot of Dr. Ramirez touching the artifact. The glow intensifies, pulsing with energy, lighting up the surrounding area.
Everyone, stand back.
The artifact sends out a beam of light straight into the sky. Ramirez and her team shield their eyes from the intense light.
What's happening?
Panel 4. Shot of the beam of light disappearing in the cosmos. The energy grows more chaotic around the artifact.
It's dun dun dun, signaling something.
Panel 5. Close up on Dr. Ramirez's shocked face. The glow of the artifact reflecting in her eyes.
We just activated it. Dun dun dun.
Page 3. Panel 1. Wide shot of deep space. A fleet of massive insectoid ships warps through the darkness, emerging from a tear in space-time. The Crick fleet is a terrifying sight, organic, dark, and bristling with spikes. Caption top left, the edge of known space. A signal is received.
A signal is received is not a type of location.
Oh, okay.
Is this a locator caption or just a narration box?
Well, it's a location on the edge of known space.
And with also a signal is received, which is not a place.
Okay. All right. Well, should he break this up into two caption boxes?
Well, it's unclear if this is a location caption, which is one font style.
If he just wants to communicate this thought, somewhere out there, this evil space guy is receiving.
My question is there or is there not a narrator?
Oh, okay. That's a fair question. All right.
So is it a locator caption or a narrative caption? This looks like a narrative caption, but you haven't had a narrative or narrator for the first 3 pages of this. 2 pages of this?
3 pages, I'd say.
Yeah. So why is there a narrator now is a real question.
Maybe there was a narrator on page 1 who just hadn't said more than the location.
That's also totally legit.
Okay. There we go. Panel 2, close-up of the Crick Commander Czar sitting in a grotesque organic throne, his insectoid eyes gleaming with malevolent intelligence. He looks at a holographic display showing, I got to say, the writing on this is dramatically improved. So, John, apparently studying your script has helped. And I love the we don't even have a lot of, there's no passives in this. It's all like, bam.
Yeah.
I know, and he's way better than you are at spelling.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
who to be
spelling never was my strong suit. Did I tell you guys I barely passed English?
I'm shocked.
That doesn't surprise me. All right.
The beacon has been activated. It is time to claim what is ours.
Panel 3, wide shot of Czar's flagship leading the Crick fleet, its engines glowing as it prepares to make the jump towards Earth.
Engines at full capacity, Commander. The fleet is ready.
Panel 4, close up of Czar's face, his mandibles twitch as he grins wickedly. Begin the invasion. Earth. I'm Czar. I'm Czar.
Diane is Czar.
No, Diane.
Oh, okay. Begin the invasion. Earth will fall.
Woo!
Panel 5, shot of the Crick fleet jumping into hyperspace, leaving a trail of distorted space-time in their wake. Page 4, panel 1, interior shot of the Scar Fleet command bridge. Captain Alex Mason stands at the center, arms folded, looking out the large viewport. Stars and distant planets are visible outside. The bridge is sleek with futuristic technology surrounding him. His second in command, Lieutenant Sarah Chen, stands beside him.
Ooh, Asian.
Go for it. That's all you.
Captain, patrol reports from the outer rim are all clear. No sign of activity.
Close up on Alex Mason, looking determined yet thoughtful.
Too quiet out here. Something doesn't feel right.
Panel 3, shot of the ghost as an officer from the communications console speaks up.
Captain, we're receiving a distress signal. It's coming from Outpost Theta on the edge of the rim.
Panel 4, close up of Mason's face, narrowing his eyes in concerns.
Patch it through.
Panel 5, holographic display on the bridge shows static, then a flickering image on the outpost being attacked. Explosions in the background. A desperate voice comes through the comms. Distress voice. This is outpost. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
This is Outpost Theta. We're under attack. Unknown. Dun dun dun. Species. Dun dun duns. We need immediate assistance.
Page 5, splash page. Wide shot of the Scar fleet in space. The massive flagship Scar Guardian, surrounded by smaller ships, is preparing for battle. In the distance, a faint glow from the Crick invasion fleet is visible. Still light years away, but closing in rapidly.
Wait, but it takes a year for the light to travel a light year, so how's it visible?
Well, how
I mean, how are you going to show the ship preparing for battle from the outside? Also, how's the glow? Obviously, the Crick invasion anything.
I know. It could be a meteor.
Also, why does our soon-to-be beset hero have his own armada? It's too quiet. He can just talk to his buddies. They're flying right there beside him. I wouldn't come and attack an armada either. It sounds like a terrible idea.
Set course for outpost.
Set course for outpost data. We're going in.
Page 6, panel 1, close-up of the star map display showing the Scar fleet current position with a plotted course towards outpost Theta. The Crick fleet appears as an ominous red marker on the map, inching closer to Earth.
Captain, the Crick fleet is massive. This isn't just a skirmish force.
Panel 2, Mason turns to Chen, his expression serious. We don't
have a choice. If we don't stop them here, Earth is next.
Panel 3. Shot of the Scar Guardian's engines powering up, glowing blue as the fleet prepares for faster-than-light travel.
All ships, engage FTL. We're moving out.
Panel 4. Interior shot of the Scar's Guardian fighter bay pilots, including the squadron leader, preparing to launch. Fighter ships are being loaded into launch tubes.
Ready for launch, sir. Strikers prepped and standing by.
Panel 5, wide shot of the fleet jumping into FTL. Stars stretching into lines the speed away toward the impending battle. Yeah.
Shouldn't they speed toward the pending battle?
I think they should just speed toward the impending battle, yes.
I agree. They should just speed toward the impending
battle. Page 7, panel 1.
Everyone turns and runs
not
away.
That I'm one to talk.
Right.
Humans live on more than one planet now. We don't need it.
Panel 1, interior of the Crick flagship. Crick warrior Zog stands beside Commander Czar, watching the view from the bridge as they approach human space. The Crick ships are organic and alien, contrasting with the sleekness of the human ships.
Humans will not stand a chance, Commander.
Close up on Czar, his eyes are filled with cold calculation.
Diana is Czar, if I recall correctly.
Yes, Diane.
Where am I?
Right here.
Oh, I guess I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
They will fight, and they will die. It is inevitable.
Panel 3, shot of the Crick ships entering Earth's star system. Their fleet looms large, casting shadows over distant planets.
Brand new character off panel. Let's go. Systems are fully operational. We are prepared for the final strike, says nobody on screen right now who we met.
Panel 4. Czar stands from his throne, walking towards the viewpoint with menace in his stride.
Let them come. We will be waiting.
Panel 5. Wide shot of the Crick ships forming an ominous battle formation as we prepare for war.
Okay, hold up.
What's an ominous?
Pausing for a second. See what you did there on panel 4? That was a really good end for a 2-page spread that will make someone want to turn the page. Whatever you're doing on panel 5 is not that.
Yeah.
So how about you just don't?
So what are you saying? Like panel 5 should be...
Doesn't need to be there at all.
Okay.
They're already preparing for war. Everyone else has mentioned that they're on the way to attack.
Yeah.
Again, how is someone going to draw an ominous battle formation as they prepare for war?
Yeah, what is an ominous battle formation?
Sure, but then the good guys can just show up when they're already in an ominous battle formation. Big bang boom, problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. But I'm still trying to figure out, like, what is a ominous battle formation?
What is the artist problem?
Right, there we go.
Harsh angles? Like
and,
an
and I
arrow?
know that you're the artist.
Yeah.
So what it is some equivalent of a low angle where they just dominate the page, right?
Yeah.
Except this is
Oh,
panel
okay.
5
There we
and
go.
5 on a page.
I'm sorry,
there's
I was
no way to
looking
do
at
the
like
land.
Roman, like looking like what type of attack is this?
Like they're like being in a grid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like all stacked in a grid,
Yeah.
Right.
and then the good guys just fly around them to the back.
Page 8, panel 1, interior of the Scar Guardian briefing room. Captain Mason stands before a large holographic display showing the Crick fleet and Outpost Theta. His crew, including Lieutenant Chen, listen intently.
The Crick fleet is larger than anything we faced. We've got the advantage of speed and surprise.
Close up on Chen, her face focused and serious.
We can't engage them directly. We'll have to rely on hit and run tactics, targeting their command ships.
Panel 3, wide shot of the holographic map. Mason points to a critical point in the Crick fleet formation, a weak spot near their flagship.
Speaking of their formation, there it is. See?
There it is.
And how do you do hit and run tactics in space?
I was wondering that myself.
What do you
I was absolutely wondering that myself.
behind an asteroid? Many asteroids.
They pop up behind an asteroid, shoot them, and run away.
Well, that's a pretty versatile spaceship that they got. That.
Yeah. All right, Mason.
Oh, yes. If we can disable their flagship, we'll cut the head off the snake. Lieutenant Chen, coordinate with the Striker and Reaper squadrons. We'll need precision strikes. Why do the good guys have the creepiest names? They're like Scar and like Reaper. Like what? These are the good guys? Are they the good guys, or are we cheering for Earth to be destroyed here? It's really unclear.
Yeah, maybe this is all of the Bugs life. Bugs are the good guys.
I'm totally behind that.
Panel 4, Chen nods and starts inputting commands on her data pad, sending orders to the fighter squadrons.
Striker and Reaper squadrons, prepare for assault. This will be surgical. It does sound like a bad guy.
In space. How can you be surgical in space?
I mean, you can. You could look. At this point, it's not really space as much as like a naval battle. You're sending your fighters. There's a big group of enemy ships, but you just want the fighters to focus on that one ship right there.
There's that really cool episode of Battlestar Galactica that was all about
Yes, I mean, well, it's an obvious tactic, right?
Yeah, you go against the command ship. Hopefully, you break down the command ship. All the rest of them will fall.
It's an obvious tactic because it's probably how we would do it now, right? There's a fleet, sink the flagship, go fighters.
Sink the flagship. It's the biggest ship.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move. Time is running out for that outpost. That is not even our outpost. Jesus, he doesn't give a fuck.
Panel 9, page 9, panel 1, wide shot of Outpost Theta, a small space station orbiting a desolate planet. It's under siege with explosions erupting around it. Crick attack ships swarm the outpost, overwhelming its defenses. Caption top left, Outpost Theta under attack. Panel 2, close up of the Crick attack ship, organic and insectoid in design, firing biolasers at the outpost hull, causing debris to fly off. Panel 3, interior shot of Outpost Theta's command center. Human officers scramble, alarms blaring. The station commander, bloodied and panicked, shouts orders.
Get those shields back up. We can't hold them off for much longer.
Panel 4, shot of Crick boarding pod crashing into the side of the outpost, breaking through the hull with a violent impact. Panel 5, on the boarding pod door, hissing open, revealing Crick warriors led by Zog. Their mandibles click as they prepare to storm the station. Page 10, panel 1.
Zog, let's go.
And the progressives always cheer for the humans to lose. Anyway, panel 1, interior Guardian's hangar bay. Fighters, including Striker and Reaper models, are being prepped.
Are boring.
People need to die. That's what always.
I don't know who
in Danny's defense, we have absolutely no emotional connection to either side of them. So if we
have an inherent emotional connection away from the
counterpoint.
The
Bugmen look cooler.
Right.
And I'm going with Spawn logic here.
Anyway.
I mean, I'm just saying that we don't really know that who's really the good guys or the bad guys, except the bugs are attacking a space station.
I mean, visually, we have these.
Maybe that
bugs.
space station is actually like, you know, stealing the precious minerals from, you know, the planet, and they're actually the bad guys. Like, we don't know that. I mean, like, it could be the aliens. The bug guys are the good guys. We don't know that.
I mean, if you stop and think about it, really, the thing should have been honored for its diversity, and the humans were kind of out of line trying to torch it all the time.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. All right.
So this was my argument with you with Starship Troopers. I was totally on the bug side.
Yeah, like, very progressive.
I was totally on the bug side. I was like, who are these people taking over this planet that's already theirs?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway,
maybe they're freedom fighters.
Okay. Do we have a squadron leader?
Striker Squadron, we're cleared for launch. Let's show these bugs how humans fight.
Panel 2, close-up of the Reaper fighter pilot adjusting her helmet as she prepares for takeoff. Her fighter is sleek and black, designed for stealth and precision.
Reaper Squadron, lock and load. We're going hunting.
Panel 3, wide shot of Striker and Reaper squadrons launching from the Scar Guardian, streaking towards Outpost Theta in formation. Panel 4, close-up of Mason on the bridge, watching the fighter squadrons deploy through the viewport.
Godspeed. Chen, keep the fleet ready to engage if we need to pull them out.
Panel 5, exterior shot of the fighters entering the battle zone, lasers firing as they weave through debris and Crick ships. There we go. All right. Well,
I'm going to pause again before we
congratulations.
move on, if that's cool. Just
What?
do you mind if I just
No.
drop a thing? Because this is page design stuff, which I'm probably not going to remember when we get to actual overall comments. It's like that last page, and here's one of the reasons why I was sort of jokingly cheering for the Bugmen.
All right.
That's 5 panels, 2 of which are wide shots of the exterior, which means we're not getting very close to the pilot. We're not getting very close to, so we don't care about the pilot. It's not like, oh, check out my badass pilot. You know, that's the end of a page. Flip over, and now they're outside. It's, okay, here's a page of action. Okay, the bugs are there. We're giving some orders. Yep, the pilots are going out. Cool, there's a space battle. I don't care about this person. You've got 5 panels on that page. The pilot's not the focus of anything. So, why would I cheer for them? You know, at least Zog or Kirk or whoever, got a whole page to himself. Totally the hero. So, in terms of pacing, if you want to, care about a person, give them a bigger panel. You've got to use, a different number of panels per page, or a different sort of layout per page to, actually focus the design aspect on the characters and actions that are important. And this fighter going out is just as important as anything else on that page from the way you wrote it. So I don't care if they live or die as a result of that. So that was my page design little rant.
Generally, I think this is, you're coming along very, very briskly. 3 weeks ago, you didn't know what a comic script looked like. And look at this. You've already submitted 2. And this one, I think, is good. I think it's very improved. We have the humans who, just so I can explain to the other people, are clearly the good guys.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Boo, boo, human.
No, no.
I would like to know what they're doing that's so good.
Maybe being human. Maybe that's good. Or is it bad that we're human? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what they're defending.
The stupid humans need to die for their humanness.
I don't know what this fight is about. I don't know what they're fighting for. They're just
maybe
you know what they're fighting for.
Uncovered a pod of insect eggs, and it's the only way they're going to get a new generation.
We know what they're fighting for. The insects are invading. They're coming for Earth. The humans are trying to protect their home. The story has given us all of that. And for most people, that should be enough to cheer for them. But, this crowd is very anti-human. Go figure.
I want a reason to be on the side of the humans, not just they're humans, ergo I'm on their side.
Oh, okay,
I
well, they are
I
being
feel
invaded.
like
generally, I'd like to be
We
on
are
the
being
side of
invaded.
any of these humans.
Now, I understand we could be asking for like saving cats, you know, like there needs to be some cat saving. There needs to be an adorable human little girl or something that's the daughter of the admiral. And like, we're gonna be okay, Daddy. And she pets her adorable kitten. Dad's like, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna get those damn bugs, and you know, something like that. And now we care that the humans are being invaded, which they are, by people who want to kill us and take our stuff. I don't know why you guys aren't getting on board, but I think that says more about you than the script. Anyway, all right, go ahead, John. Oh wait, Diane, did you want to say anything good? Good things.
Actually, I think that the trying to make a battle formation ominous kind of worked.
Yeah.
So kind of worked. It's saying at first I wasn't terribly sure how to do it, but then after you explained it, I went, okay, I could see that. I could see that actually being like the forces were very, very large. You have the big, probably a very large flagship, and then you have probably a small defense force, and it seems overwhelming. So yeah, that could work.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm going to say good things actually, and also defend my position a little bit.
Okay.
This is a way better script. There is a lot more focus in all of the scenes. And everyone's only got like one mission, all of the different bits tied together. So you've improved a lot there. Overall, the pacing from like comic page to comic page has improved, which is great. And yeah, like, I mean, 5 is a good number of panels, but you got to be flexible there and be like, what's the story on this page? Who's this page about? Which I guess more of a crit. And then, yes, while Preston, was successfully pointing out that I was being a bit of an asshole there, I am on the side of humans. Obviously, we should protect humans. And what the hell, dude? But also, I thought it was funny. So apologies for being a shit disturber.
Congratulations, you got an apology out of Danny.
Preston successfully made me feel bad.
All right, John, have you given?
I think the formatting was definitely much better, much improved, felt more like a comic script. I feel like the unnecessary detour that we took on the mother and her son having lunch, that being cut, I think was a good thing, since I mean, if you're not going to do anything with it, it doesn't need to be there. So good for that. And yeah, overall I think the structure is good. I kind of, are we doing both together, or are we just still doing good stuff?
I mean, go ahead.
Let's go straight to it. Yeah.
I kind of feel like that there's too many characters too early on, and I feel like it's a little hard to keep everybody straight and their motivations and all of that. Besides, bugs be evil because they're ugly and they're bugs, and humans be good because they're humans. I mean, right. Well, I personally, and again, like I was just kind of joining in on the teasing a little bit with Danny and Preston, but I kind of feel like the reason why I was kind of siding with Danny on that is just because I would like a little bit more into character motivation than just, the beacons are lit, Gondor calls for aids, and the bug krill are going to show up. Like, I mean, that's kind of what happened, right? So I want more than that, than just, the bug beacon goes off, so all the bugs are drawn to it. Like, I want to know why. Like, what is it that the bugs want? Because I think if we know what the bugs want, then I feel like we'll have more of a connection to why the humans, even if we know nothing about them, have to stop them. and I don't really know what the bugs' motivations are, except for the fact that they're bugs and they're ugly. Therefore, they're bad.
Well,
Which
this sort
seems
of
kind of
leads to
buggist
my
and race.
point.
So
I mean, they do kind of state like that. There's
like the beacon was activated. They want
Yeah.
revenge or whatever. They're going to take it on Earth.
right.
And frankly, I sympathize more with that than I'm bored. Which is what the humans were doing. So like
I missed that
care
they
about
wanted
any of
revenge for something. But
it was
again,
something about
revenge
the
for
beacon.
what?
Like it was either Gondor calls for aid, or it was like, oh, they've captured or whatever. It doesn't. I mean, yes, it needs explanation generally, but in terms of character development, which is sort of my constructive here, is you have a whole bunch of humans, and I don't care about any of these people.
Yeah.
They're bored. Like at least the bugs want something.
Right.
Or
Right.
what, or you know, or they're doing something. They're not just being passive. Like so, they're you know, the bugs are like, oh, something happened, we're gonna go do it. The other guys are like, oh, I guess we should go stop that. There's that outpost over there. And I mean, Preston's gonna tell you all about saving cats, but yeah, you should be saving some cats here, dude. Or like introducing, you know, characters like, you know, the pilot has a unique way of speaking, you know, maybe they're particularly Southern and are always going to give some sort of weird homily about food their mother baked, or so, like, give us something to want to care about these humans.
So this kind of has basically like the next generation folly for me. So as a child, I loved Next Generation, Star Trek. And then I kind of grew older and then ended up falling in love with DS9. The reason why is because DS9 had more interesting characters. And then looking back at TNG, I just found I learned that everyone's fucking boring in that show. You can exchange all the dialogue with every character and you would not know the difference. And that's kind of what I see here. So like much to the support saying like, I don't know anything about these human characters. They're very passive. And like, yes, that's the big problem is that you can change the names and I wouldn't know the difference of all these people other than maybe communications officer. And that's like the commanding officer, but then the commanding is not really saying anything necessarily doing things that are very commanding other than like I type a pad to instructions to the squadron. That was like the closest thing I can get. So that's kind of like one of those things when you're doing a battle such as this and characters which are an exorbitant amount of characters. So each one has a brain.
Like going to save the president because like no one else is close enough to reach the space station on time, and they're going to go fight against overwhelming odds instead of being bored in space playing chess with their spaceship gang.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So
like
it's just kind of like I don't know what the humans are there. I guess they're defending, I guess, but they're really just kind of there. And
yeah,
and they just like this entire
is like
huge
quiet. Like it's
groups come in
space
and they're like,
really
oh, guess we have to defend that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like at least acknowledge that you're the only one there to defend whatever border this is. Maybe you're a tiny scout, and all of a sudden you have to warn back home. I don't know. So,
like,
I don't know that
space being quiet is like, oh, I guess it's Tuesday. We should have a story now because we're on TV.
Yeah. So it's the alien of the week. Quiet. So
okay.
So, yeah.
So I guess the constructive is we really need to personify and personalize this grudge between bug people and humans.
Okay, let me give you an example. That is a Star Trek reference.
Okay.
When the Borg appears for the second time. Okay, like best of both worlds, basically. Mm-hmm. So what they actually talk about is that there are outposts at the neutral zone that were strategically being destroyed, but nobody knew which one they were. Yeah. And then finally out of the neutral zone comes like the big giant Borg cube.
Yeah.
It's like we have engaged the Borg.
Right.
Now, of course, we have all this context beforehand, but the thing is that these outposts of hundreds of people have died.
Yeah.
And now we have found out who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have the context like, hey, we're protecting our space from that thing. They at least did something to say like this is happening, but so far the bugs haven't done that other than
they warped in.
Yeah, they warped in, and I just went like, we won't get them, and I'm like, oh well, I like the fact that he's very like has a huge charismatic speech. I like that.
Yeah.
But then the humans are like just kind of going through the motions, and I'm like, that's it.
Wow.
Okay, so and I think a good way to describe this is the Scar people basically notice someone speeding on the highway. They're traffic cops.
Yeah, it's like that, isn't it?
Why are you trying to make your audience cheer for traffic cops?
Then play it like that if you want to do that.
Yeah, or play it like that. Excuse me, I see you crossed into our border with. Are you Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you Russia? What do you want?
I've only got a couple pairs of handcuffs, so some of you people in this army are going to have to share.
Yeah.
But we're taking you all back to the station. You'd be driving drunk. No one dating drug. We can't have that here. This is an orderly society. Yeah. You're all under arrest. Like that.
Yeah, exactly. You can do something like that. It's funny, but at least it gives you something. So yeah. So rather than, hey, big giant army, where did this army? Plus, if you're that large of an army, nobody saw you. Nobody. So
space is really mind-bogglingly big.
I understand that, but still, they're in a.
The fact that anyone saw them is actually more impressive.
Yeah. The fact that there is no apparently. How do you do hit and run also in space?
Yeah.
With that was another one where I'm going like, so if there's nothing for you to hit and run in, it's just space. I know that I understand that they just warp in, but still, I'm still going like, how did nobody notice you? So.
All right. There we go. Right,
with that large of a warp signature too.
Okay, I think that's everybody's notes.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone who hasn't gone. Hopefully, that'll help you make the story better, and we'll have some more pages to go over next time.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I mean, I'm really excited to see Drago's next iteration of comics because,
I mean, he's certainly coming along
really quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. So there you go. Fantastic. All right. I mean, at this rate of acceleration, we need like one of those scientists who's observing the alien specimen, going at this rate of acceleration, it'll be kickstarting $20,000 in 2 months.
Only take a couple of months before he takes over the galaxy.
He's gonna take over the Kickstarter universe in a span of years. Anyway.
And I mean, honestly, like it'll be great to see, like especially since what's his name, La Vigilante, is frantically producing some kind of like comic storyboards already.
Yeah.
Seeing this actually like laid out could be really interesting.
Indeed. All right, everybody. Well, hopefully we'll get together next week, next Tuesday, and talk some more. Till then, good night. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Night.